उनका जो हुनर है, उनका जो स्किल है, उसको हम और शार्पन करके कैसे उनको आत्मनिर्भर बना सकते हैं, कैसे उनको मेन स्ट्रीम में ला करके हाउ कैन दे कंट्रीब्यूट टुवर्ड्स द वेल बीइंग, नॉट फॉर देमसेल्व्स बट फॉर द सोसाइटी। इसमें बड़ी एक इंटरेस्टिंग सा मुझे एक कोट याद आता है कबीरदास का। कबीरदास जी कहते हैं, दो बड़ी सरल लाइनें, एक दो पंक्तियां कहते हैं कबीरदास की, जाति न पूछो साधु की, जाति न पूछो साधु की, पूछ लीजो ज्ञान, जाति न पूछो साधु की, पूछ लीजो ज्ञान, मोल करो तलवार का, पड़ा रहेगा मयान। अर्थ बड़ा सरल सा है कि आपके अंदर जो हुनर है, आपके अंदर जो क्षमता है, आपके अंदर जो जज्बा है, उसको बाहर निकालिए। बाकी एबिलिटी, डिसेबिलिटी, एक्सेस, नॉट एक्सेस, ये सब साइड में रहने दीजिए। अपना फोकस कीजिए कि आप कैसे अपने आप को और ऊंचा बढ़ा सकते हैं, और आप ऊंचे बढ़ेंगे तो देश ऊंचा बढ़ेगा। इसके लिए मैं निमंत्रण देता हूं हमारे एडवाइजरी बोर्ड मेंबर, नेशनल एडवाइजरी बोर्ड मेंबर और मेरे परम मित्र सुनील जी का, सुनील पालीजानी जी, जो सीईओ हैं, ग्लोबल बिजनेस लीडर, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन एक्सपर्ट हैं, बोर्ड मेंबर हैं सार्थक के। उनमें एक अद्भुत क्षमता है, वो किसी भी सोती हुई कंपनी को, किसी भी लॉस मेकिंग कंपनी को, किसी भी चैलेंज को उठाते हैं, कुछ महीनों में, कुछ वर्षों में उसको टर्न अराउंड करते हैं, ह्यूजली प्रॉफिटेबल बनाते हैं, और उसको बढ़ने के लिए आगे छोड़ देते हैं, और उसके बाद फिर वो नया मुकाम, नए चैलेंज की ओर बढ़ते हैं। तो कभी आपको समय मिले तो सुनील जी से भी उनके एक्सपर्टीज के बारे में समझिएगा, आपको बहुत ज्ञान मिलेगा। लेकिन आज के लिए मैं सुनील जी को इनवाइट करता हूं कि वो यहां से इस पैनल की गतिविधि को आगे बढ़ाएं। सुनील जी।
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such nice words. I invite my panel colleagues and request them to kindly join me on the dais. Madam Nandita Saran, Shri Anil Joshi ji, kindly join us, sir. Dr. Nagratna, Madam Charulekha ji, and Madam Neelam Jolly ji, and Shri Sandeep Verma ji. Good evening, audience. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And so good evening, everybody here. And we have a challenge of meeting up the schedule, which we are already delayed. But we'll try to do justice with this subject, because the subject we are taking up is a very critical subject. This starts from the birth of child. As you know, the golden years of a child is between 0 to 3 or maximum 0 to 6 years. We all know the best can be salvaged or recovered or corrected in that age. And today I am honored to have the most eminent panel one can have on the dais with various, with various expertise, and will be addressing this point and guiding all the stakeholders, parents, NGOs, all of you, and feel free to ask if you have any specific thing through social media, through our colleagues. And without losing much time, I will quickly get into the discussion. And I will request my eminent panelists to start by giving their narrative, their own, I would say, essence of their experience on this subject as to what is the need for early intervention, why it is so important, and if it is so important, what all can be done, and what all parents need to think about, what all NGOs need to think about, and how they can really contribute to the ability or the growth of children, and what are the essential aspects of it. So I'll start with Madam Nandita Saranji. Nandita Saranji is the principal NAB Delhi. She has been working 30 years for children with visual impairment, multiple disabilities. She has been working closely with inclusion possible for children with visual impairment. As coordinator of Deaf Blind Regional Center, she has worked closely with partner NGOs for setting up programs in North India. She believes in empowering parents, involving them in the journey of growth of children. She has done her master's in life sciences and is a special educator by profession, specializing in intellectual disability. Nandita ji, can you help us by starting this session and throwing some light on this subject?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving such a detailed introduction. But here, jaise the previous session was all about employability, all about getting together of corporates, governments, NGOs. This session obviously starts from birth. And we have, yesterday when I was a part of the meeting, and we have a whole lot of experts down the line who would be talking about early intervention. And sir, your question itself, I think in the introduction you had said golden years, the crucial years. Why do we say golden years? हम क्यों बोलते हैं कि early intervention is so important? So for all of us to understand, brain development happens, maximum brain development जो होता है वो early years में होता है, and that is the time when it is absolutely essential कि जितना हम बच्चे के साथ काम कर सके, जितना उसको exposure दे सके, वो हम दें as responsible parents, educators working in the community. और आज के दिन there is this, I would say, technology बढ़ी है, there advances in medical sciences हुआ है, we have mortality rate of children with disability has dropped. There are many more children surviving. और जितना early identify हो, जितना जल्दी आप screening कर सको कि इस बच्चे के साथ what are the needs that need to be addressed, utna jaldi we will be able to help the child. And as I was introduced, I would just like to say National Association for the Blind Delhi, जहाँ मैं काम करती हूँ for the past, I think now more than 2 decades. We have children with visual impairment. Now, visual impairment ही एक broad spectrum हो जाता है जहाँ low vision बच्चे भी हों, जहाँ totally blind बच्चे भी हों. Visual impairment with additional disabilities एक और criteria add हो जाता है जिसमें additional disabilities can take the form of hearing loss, can take the form of cerebral palsy, can take the form of intellectual disability. That again, the challenge in that group increases multifold. और ये सारे challenges जितने अर्ली हम एड्रेस कर सकें, एज आई सेड, ब्रेन डेवलपमेंट, न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी, साइनेप्सिस, ये सारे जो फर्स्ट 2-3 years में अगर we are able to work on it, obviously the results are going to be much, much better than what if a child who comes to me at the age of 8, 9, say maybe even 7 years, उस समय तक काफ़ी चीज़ें फॉर्म हो चुकी होती हैं. So the motto, early we begin, early we assess, miracles, I'm not saying miracles, but yes, challenges can be overmet. इसके साथ मैं यहाँ पे ये बताना चाहूँगी कि आप बहुत सारा वी टॉक अबाउट ग्लोबल डेवलपमेंट, क्या क्या लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी है. याद करें, हम भी बचपन में उसी कपड़े के झूले पे खिलाए जाते थे. वो माँ अपनी पीठ पे बच्चे को बांध के ले जाती थी. व्हाट इज़ ऑल दैट? हम एक इंग्लिश का प्ले वर्ड है पीकाबू, पीकाबू. हाँ, कम्युनिकेशन एस्टैब्लिश करना, उस बच्चे को समझना कि उसके क्या क्या रेसिडुअल विजन, हियरिंग, कहाँ पे वी नीड टू वर्क, और उसको असेस करके नॉर्मल थिंग है कि आप जितना बच्चे के साथ इंटरैक्ट करोगे, जितना नॉर्मल प्ले करोगे, उतना उसका लैंग्वेज डेवलप होगा, उतना उसके सेंसरी नीड्स को आप एड्रेस कर रहे हो, उतने ही उसके साथ आप इंटरैक्शन कर रहे हो, एक कम्युनिकेशन चैनल डेवलप कर रहे हो. सो व्हाट आर वी डूइंग? आप बच्चे के साथ खेल रहे हो, हाँ, खेल खेल में ही हम उसको इस तरह से इंटरवेंशन दे रहे हैं कि उसका ग्रोथ हो रहा है. एंड दोज अर्ली ईयर्स अगेन देन बिकम वेरी वेरी क्रूशियल. जहाँ क्या है, आपने सर पे अपना दुपट्टा रखा, द चाइल्ड गेट्स इंटरेस्टेड. अरे मम्मी कहाँ गई? वेयर इज़ माई पार्टनर? जो अभी सामने दिख रही थी वो पर्दे के पीछे चली गई. दैट इंटरेस्ट, you know, creating that kind of turn-taking activity, creating that kind of play activity, just getting that attention of the child. वो चंद 2 मिनट के लिए आपने बच्चे को इंटरैक्ट किया, अपने बच्चे को आपने उठाया, अरे ये तो यहाँ मिल गई. What will the child do? वो शायद आपको हंस के रिएक्ट करेगा. ठीक है, तो यही सारी चीज़ हैं. आपने टैप किया, बच्चे ने भी सोचा कि अच्छा कहीं से आवाज़ आई, शायद हम भी ताली बजा सकते हैं. वो क्या हुआ? एक कम्युनिकेशन चैनल डेवलप हुआ. तो जिस तरह के बच्चे की नीड्स है, उसको असेस करके, उसको समझ के, उसको एड्रेस करके आप अर्ली चाइल्डहुड केयर एंड एजुकेशन, नाउ इट इज़ अ पार्ट ऑफ द NEP पॉलिसी. पॉलिसीज़ हैं, हमको इम्प्लीमेंटेशन सही ढंग से कराने की ज़रूरत है. वी आर सिटिंग इन द हार्ट ऑफ अ कैपिटल, not actually heart, NCR, but I would still say the heart, where we are lucky to have access to all kinds of, चाहे वो medical intervention हो, चाहे वो intervention हो, we have access to it. What we need to do is mission mode में इसी चीज को all over the country spread किया जाए. And for that, चाहे वो RBS के हो, राष्ट्रीय बाल सेवा केंद्र, चाहे वो NEP की पॉलिसी हुई है, आंगनवाड़ी, अर्ली चाइल्डहुड केयर एंड एजुकेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, उसमें इन बच्चों को भी उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंस दिया जाए, अर्ली इंटरवेंशन पे उतना ही एम्फेसिस दिया जाए. द पॉलिसीज आर देयर इन प्लेस. व्हाट वी नीड टू पुश फॉर एज NGOs, एज पार्टनर्स, कि इसको इम्प्लीमेंट सही तरीके से कैसे कर सके. एंड ये जो crucial years of development है, that shouldn't get lost, which again अगर हम उस पे काम करेंगे, then we are able to say कि हम सक्सेसफुली उस बच्चे को, चाहे वो एजुकेशन के मेन स्ट्रीम में हो, चाहे एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी में हो, we have been able to include the child in every which way. So that is why we say कि early intervention is the crucial golden years where all of us need to work on mission mode. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. It is very, very, important and guiding. But as we all talk about golden years, brain development, and the criticality of engagement and communication during the first few years, there is a very big factor which plays among parents, because parents are the main stakeholders. And now I'm coming to the next speaker, Mr. Joshi, who is an eminent, social worker as well as a parent, because there is a important, hard obstacle of denial. The parents are first in denial mode before they get into the, diagnosis. So Joshi Saab, just to give a quick introduction, is an experienced IT professional. He is technology expert and all BE in electrical and MBA, and has been working in field of technology, ICT, AI for inclusion and development. He has worked closely for social and disability development sectors with focus on underprivileged children and persons with disabilities at national and international level. So, Anil ji, we have been interacting, and this denial factor, how do we overcome, and how important it is for parents to be the stakeholder in this process? Maybe you are the best person to tell us.
Thank you, Sunil ji. Thanks to Sarthak. As an organization, I have been witness to the progress Sarthak has made right from day one. So, thank you so much, and I'm so glad that Sarthak has taken up this as a mission, and we are happy to be here today to take part and learn in the 10th conference, which is no small deed. So congratulations to the team. I wear different hats, and while interacting in disability sector, quite often people used to ask me, what do you have to do with disabilities? So the story actually started with me as a young engineer getting an opportunity of lifetime to work for Tatas, that too with Mr. Ratan Tata in computers. I'm talking about early 80s. And Tata's as employers would make you so comfortable that I thought that I should, give back to the society. Because you can imagine in early 80s, there were no computers in India. So that is just the beginning of industry. Later on, of course, I traversed through a journey. So at that time, it occurred to me, why not help the organizations in Mumbai, Pune, and Nagpur working in the disability sector to serve persons who are in the need of some help. Later on, I got married, and little did I realize that this will be a mission of my life someday. So after the marriage, in due course of time, I was blessed with a daughter, beautiful, cute daughter, who was diagnosed to have Down syndrome. And since I was in computers and we used to interact with various specialists, not just in healthcare, in various industries, I was going from pillar to post, asking people, can you educate me? What is it all about? Coming from systems background, we try to know all the corner pieces so that, the complete picture can be made clear. And believe me, even the doctors would say, Anil, we don't know anything. We can help you 24/7 if it comes to the medical aspects of it. But when it comes to the rehab or the overall progression or management aspects, we know nothing. There were few organizations driven by parents, and please try to study the history. In disability sector in particular, most of the initiatives were started by the parents, because as early as early 50s, there were no service providing organizations. So parents saw the need, they came together, they moved the world and set up the service delivery systems. it's majorly parents and duly supported by the society that we started seeing policy changes in our country. Happy to share, today my daughter is 30-year-old, pretty young woman, independent, working for a corporate for more than 10 years now as a regular, full-time employee. What it means is, I mean, we have seen ad hoc kind of employment being given to persons, that too specifically to the children or adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, giving them maybe some compensation for the work they do. But my concern has always been that our children, once they grow up, with whatever skills they are able to acquire, they should be part of a regular workforce. What it means is, do they have a salary slip? Plain and simple. Do they have Provident Fund account? Do they have a bank account? Are they beneficiaries of ESIC and all other benefits? So we of course struggled our way up, but believe me, it all starts with early intervention. And early intervention means nothing to the parents who have just been given or broken the information that their child is not really going to be normal. So a person like me, even in those days, used to ask me, how do you define normal? So all of us are normal and abnormal in some way or the other. So we have to have a frame of reference. And that's how it all started. We are lucky to have a huge network of friends across the globe who would pour in a lot of information. Please try to understand, in those days there was no internet, there was no web, there was no Google. But through landlines or whatever, we were able to get some bits and pieces which we try to put together and realize that the best way to learn is from people who deal with it, especially the parents. Understand कि ये क्या करना चाहते थे लेकिन कर नहीं पाए, और कुछ क्या किया जा सकता है जिसको हम supplement कर सकते हैं. So anyway, long and short of it is, so we focused on early intervention. What is it? We have to understand it's all about brain development. We all heard golden years, neuroplasticity and all that. 90% of development happening in the first 5 to 6 years of child for all of us. Now, can we accelerate it? And if there is something wanting, either in one sensory dimension or in multiple sensory dimensions. जैसे कि इंटेलेक्चुअल और डेवलपमेंटल डिसेबिलिटीज़ के बच्चों में मल्टीपल सेंसरी डायमेंशंस या मल्टीपल अप्रोचेस की ज़रूरत होगी. अगर विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड है, हियरिंग इम्पेयर्ड है, तो शायद एक डायमेंशन की ज़रूरत होगी अलॉन्ग विद अदर्स. सो जनरली हमने देखा है कि इंटेलेक्चुअल डेवलपमेंटल डिसेबिलिटीज़ ज़्यादा डिस्कशंस में नहीं आते हैं, इवन इन द मेन स्ट्रीम डिसेबिलिटी डिस्कोर्स. तो ये बात पहले हम इम्प्रेस कैसे करें नए पेरेंट्स के साथ, क्योंकि जिनकी शायद नई नई शादी हुई हो, 1-2 साल में बच्चा हुआ है, डॉक्टर्स ने कुछ तो भी नेगेटिव कमेंट कर दिया कि हो सकता बच्चा ज़्यादा स्ट्रगल ना कर पाए, एंड दे ऑल आर ग्रोपिंग इन द डार्क. सो द फर्स्ट थिंग वी ट्राई टू डू ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ ईयर्स इज handhold with them, provide them accurate information, tell them that it's not all that bad. There is hope and you are not alone. So for this, I'm one of the founder members of Parivar, which is a national level umbrella organization, so the parents' organizations. So we believe that anywhere there is a small population, children with disabilities are there. And they need help. Help in terms of appropriate information at the right time, assurance that you take the first step, there are 10 people who are willing to walk with you, handhold with you. And in case you have any issues, feel free to reach out, just speak up. And then my journey started. I represented parents from across the country on the board of National Trust, which is Act of Government of India, for 4 terms, which is an elected position. So we reached out to all the districts. As was mentioned, we have beautiful provisions in the acts. There is a lacuna about implementation. So this is where the society at large has to come into play. We have to involve the society, so we have to spread awareness, sensitize them, generate interest as to why they need to work and help the disability sector.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And I would request now we have another eminent panelist like Anilji, Sandeep Verma-ji next to him, who is an economist. He has been working with SIDBI and is also here as a parent to share on this. And Sandeep ji, again, my point is that how do we overcome this denial hurdle, and how do you guide parents to take up this early intervention seriously?
Thank you very much, Sunil ji, and thank you, Sarthak, for having me here. So my story is almost similar to what Anil ji has just narrated. And obviously it is very true to say that early intervention is the key, and that is the most difficult part also of the entire journey. And the denial mode, of course, that is the biggest challenge that any parent would face. When I also go back about 20 years back, so whatever indication used to come, that also we used to deny all the time that this cannot happen. Ultimately, it was found that my daughter was having a hearing loss right from the birth. But it was delayed, but not that much. It was kind of early intervention, perhaps also because I was in a big city like Mumbai, and it was diagnosed with the hearing aid and all, and by the time she was 2.5 years old, the cochlear implant operation was done, and she was implanted, the cochlear implant was put in her. And then the real rigor started when you have to do the rehab thing. Luckily, again, in a place like Mumbai, it was quite comfortable and quite easy compared to other centers. Because in the other centers, when we try to interact, their point of reference was that yes, intervention ऐसा रहेगा कि बच्चा अपनी चीजें कर पाएगा. And my point was, it's not that I want my child only to be able to ask for water or ask for daily course and all. I want her to be as normal as any other kid could be. So cochlear implant के बाद जब rehab उसका हुआ, and again, as Anil ji said, I'm also very proud to say that a child who was not able to listen, speak, now she is doing something where she has got to speak and speak. She is doing law, and she is in 3rd year. And today, in fact, she was also supposed to come, but her internship is there, and today is the last date. She couldn't come, and she is kind of the chatterbox of my family now. She speaks more than all of us put together. Early intervention का सर मुझको ऐसा लगता है कि the systems have to improve. I believe the medical systems are there in place, but it has to reach out to the hinterland, and there should be some compulsory check or determination that should be made mandatory, that it has to be done for every child. I believe it was there at that point in time also. I was told that in the Western country the development is so much that once the child is born, and sometimes even before he or she is born, all these things are found out, and the action start as early as it can. In our case, the problem is that such things do not happen, and she was born in a small place. I come from Bihar. She was born in a place in Bihar. So obviously these things were not there. So early detection is the most important thing. See, changing the approach of the parent to have in a denial mode, because it is a wider aspect, because the emotions are there, then the awareness is there, and nobody wants to actually believe. I mean, leave aside a new parent. Even at the old age also, whenever any bad news comes, the first thing is that we disbelieve it. Even if we know that this is true, we do not want to believe it. So my approach would be that make it more scientific. We should try to reach a situation where such kind of checks and balances are made mandatory. Whenever a child is born, what are the problems the child is born with? That should be made known, and once that is made known, then only the rectification can start. And subsequently, of course, the other aspects to be taken care of, like I know for sure that cochlear implant operation is not a very cheap one. Not everybody can afford it also. So there, of course, the cost is coming down. That is a very practical aspect or a materialistic aspect. There are so many people coming forward. When she was operated upon in 2005, not much options were available. But now I know for sure many corporates, they sponsor. Mahindra and Mahindra, I know for sure, they sponsor each year, they sponsor about 100 cochlear operations and all. So like that, so many people are there. But early detection is the key. I mean, everybody is repeating that. I have seen in my close acquaintances 2 or 3 people, and the earliest it was done, the best is the result. One of my colleague, his daughter also was having the problem, but she was detected it a bit late. So recovery was problem because again the golden year is lost. And in hearing disability, the compounded or the problem, additional problem is that the speech formation becomes a difficulty, and they say that the language formation can take place only up to age of 5 or 6. Then it becomes difficulty that we are advised that you pick up only one language. Multiple language can confuse the boy or the girl. So all these problems could be obviated if the child, theoretically speaking or even technically, if suppose the cochlear implant is done on day 0, then the child is as good as normal, because then there is no need of any speech therapy also. Of course, I don't know medically it is possible or not, but the shorter the duration is between the birth and the operation, it would be good. So I would have a feeling, of course, urging to all the parents to leave aside this comfort that how this can happen to me, the denial mode has to go. But more important, in my view, would be to make it mandatory from the medical side, to make such tests compulsory, mandatory, that any child who is born with, immediately the test should be done, or the BARA test, and whatever test is required to be done, that whether everything is fine, if any problem is there, then rectification could be started as early as possible.
Thank you,
so that would be my take on that.
Thank you, Sandeep ji. It is actually very, very important what you said, and it gives very clear guidance to parents with you and Anil ji's your own first-hand experience and success stories. And now, as you said, medical tests and being scientific and making it mandatory, I think we have the most relevant speaker next to you, Dr. Nagratna ji, who is postgraduate in early intervention, and she is PhD in early intervention. She is also a consultant of early intervention, and after MBBS she did post-graduation and PhD, and then have 23 years of experience in the specific field of early intervention of children, and has been doing a lot of research on this, and she has great passion towards working on neonates and their mothers in identifying high-risk babies as early as possible, and give intervention and use all the scientific technology that you just mentioned. So, Dr. Nagratna ji, over to you to guide us.
Hello. Thank you, sir, for telling me such a nice words. And truly, I am honored here to be honored here to sit with such a distinguished professionals. And outset, I want to thank Dr. Jitender Aggarwal sir and then Dr. Suman ma'am for giving me this opportunity to talk on this topic, which is very close to my heart. That is early intervention. So when you go back to the 23 years back, when I did my post-graduation in early intervention, believe me that many people didn't know that there is a course in this early intervention, and then there is a early intervention as such that can be done to such a young people. So, and pediatricians, at least they or the medical professionals or healthcare providers didn't know that about that early intervention exists. So, but very few people used to talk about that early intervention. But when you come back now and the recent things, so this awareness has been increased, that the early intervention, that everywhere, everyone is talking about that early intervention. So, but what exactly, how to go about it and how to improve this, strengthen this more and more. But still it is not able to reach the community area like for example, sir has told that like in Mumbai and in the urban areas, this early intervention has been talked and then heard by the people. Everyone know, like be aware it. But when you come to the villages and then the district places, still it is in the behind to reach these people. Why? Because the manpower or the resource people are very few people who are working with the early intervention. So many people are, I can understand that special educators are more and more in our country, and but not like, but still we are not able to reach in this field of early intervention. So, and as I echo with the madam, and so that plasticity they are telling, and we are talking about the plasticity and how early this early intervention should be started. Should we start at birth, or should we start it after identifying the developmental delay, or any disability has been identified and then to start the early intervention? No. Actually, we can start as early as possible when you find out that the child is having high risk for developing in the disability. So these are the people that we call it as an high-risk babies. So we need to identify these high-risk babies as early as possible when the child is born, or before, during the pregnancy itself. We know that some of the mothers are having very risk factors for developing this. So we need to identify from there and monitor, and as any intervention should be given during the pregnancy also can be given, and also after the birth we should be following them up and identify the high risk and then give the intervention. So we need to go behind, before the birth itself, this early intervention, because many say not only the disability, we are able to name that hearing impairment, visual impairment, cognitive impairment, and the others. But when you come to the sensory issues also are all there, which nowhere they tell that is a disability, but many people are facing these sensory issues. So overall this early intervention, what I mean to tell is, we need to screen them, and we need to follow the evidence-based screening tools as early as possible, and then to give the intervention. Nowadays, we follow in the NICU that family-centered care. So like we involve the parents after identifying, and then give them the counseling, give them the every input about the early intervention, because this early intervention is not very like difficult to understand, what I feel for the parents. So if you tell them, then the parents, this we call it as a family-centered care, and we tell them about the critical period, we tell about the plasticity, and then we give them the how this intervention should be given at home. Everybody thinks that it should be center-based itself in the early intervention. No need, where the mother can take up, because such a young child, every day we cannot call them for the institution for given the intervention. But whereas the mother can take care to her during her daily needs of the baby, we can give the intervention, and then so that the child's development happen in all the areas. And another one is comprehensive assessment is very important in this early intervention. It is not that one domain of development should not be taken, like vision development, hearing, speech, or the cognition. You should not separate into departments as such. All the professionals should be trained in the early intervention, I believe that. So that overall the child should be looked at as an overall child. It should not be separated from one compartment to the other compartment. And this will lead to the overall intellectual development. Because during this first 3 years of development, all the development happens in all the domains like sensory, and then cognition, speech, and all the other areas, family, everything. So what happens is this is dependent on the other. Like for example, sensory is dependent on the motor is dependent on the speech. So all these are dependent on the development in the first 3 years. That's why we should be giving holistic approach of this intervention, then only we will be. The recent trends, I want to talk about this recent research which is happening in this early intervention is how early and how we can predict that the child is going to have disability. So there is one tool screening evidence-based is general motor movements. That is very good assessment which is happening now, and this general motor movements is nothing but to video, we should take the video of the baby at the birth and also at the 1 month. For example, if it is a preterm baby at birth and also at 1 month and 3 months. So these 3 videos we can tell that we can predict that whether the child is going to have cerebral palsy, and many research are going whether we can predict even the child is going to have the autism or any other genetic disorders. So this, I feel that this will help in future, that all the parents and then every human being or every parent should know that access this, take the videos and then send to the pediatricians or who are being trained in this, and then we can predict, and everyone has got the right to know whether my child is having normal or any other abnormality. So, and this is a very simple tool. Even we can sit at home and send the 1 minute or 2 minutes video. Now we are having all the smartphone videos where we can take the video and then send to the professionals and then see and ask this whether my child is having any problem, or whether we can predict the child is going to have later on any other problem. So this is how we can come out. This is a very recent research. Since 5 to 6 years, it is happening very vigorously in India also, where the pediatricians are being trained also, but it is not sufficient. But now the parents should come to know that this is one tool is there. And even...
So doctor, it is very encouraging, and I think it gives us much bigger hope, as Sandeep ji pointed out, as a wish that the earliest the better. I mean, at the 0 age or 1 month, 3 months is almost 0 age. And if we have this scientific method and if it is propagated, it's so economical and efficient to do, perhaps this can become a future solution for early detection at even the earliest stage, and that can lead us to better control and better life for children with special needs. So thank you very much for enlightening us and giving us that direction, and we are hoping that more research will happen and more solutions will come. I have further to add to this subject Madam Charulekha ji, who is head of employability program at YWDAADI. She has been a very eminent person working in the ability development and inclusion for last 30 years. She has trained and she was trained as a developmental therapist in 1992 and have a research-based master's in rehabilitation studies at University of East London. She was principal School of Rehabilitation Sciences, and she has worked in field of therapy and supporting children for last 3 decades. Charulekha ji, kindly guide us on this subject.
So I think काफ़ी कुछ बोला गया है नंदिता जी से शुरू करके, and Mr. Joshi and Mr. Sandeep and so काफ़ी and Dr. Nagaratna. So काफ़ी सारा I think the importance जो सुनील जी ने शुरू करता है. Thank you सुनील जी for inviting me and do Sarthak. So I think ये जो शुरू जो आपने कहा था सुनील जी कि क्यों important है, I think वो तो शायद हम सब को अब तक शायद उसके बारे में काफ़ी एक जानकारी और एक समझ हो गई होगी कि ये क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट है. फॉर्चुनेटली हमारे कंट्री में अब जैसे नंदिता ने भी कहा, पॉलिसीज़ अब बन चुकी हैं, लॉ है जो हमारे साथ है, और इसमें राइट फ्रॉम एक सलमान का स्टेटमेंट था 1994 का जिसने एजुकेशन की बात करी थी, फिर UN कन्वेंशन आया ऑन राइट्स, and then finally we had the sustainable development goals, SDGs जिनको कहते हैं, जो 2030 तक हैं, जिस also led us to a Persons with Disability Act of 2016. So ये इसलिए important है क्योंकि अब it's not only left to individuals and organizations, एक legal sanction भी है हमारे पास, एक there's a way forward to say how can early education, early intervention be made accessible across the country. जैसे अभी बात हुई है कि मेट्रोज़ में, बड़े सिटीज़ में शायद अभी भी लोगों के पास इंफॉर्मेशन है, रिसोर्सेज, उन्हें पता है कि कहाँ जाना है, पर अगर हम मेट्रो से थोड़ा दूर जाते हैं, यू नो, इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट पीपल, हाँ, एंड पीपल हु आर मे बी नॉट सो सोशो इकोनॉमिकली प्रिविलेज, क्योंकि हमारे कंट्री में सबको पता है कितनी डिस्पैरिटीज़ हैं, कितने लोग हैं जिनकी बेसिक नीड्स नहीं फुलफ़िल होती हैं। तो हम सिर्फ उस तबके की बात तो नहीं सोच सकते ना जिनके पास रिसोर्सेज हैं, इंफॉर्मेशन है, और उन तक ही सिर्फ अर्ली इंटरवेंशन की सर्विसेज पहुँचे। हमारा दायित्व ये है कि ये इंफॉर्मेशन, ये सर्विसेज सब तक पहुँचें। तो जो हमारे कंट्री का सिस्टम है, चाहे वो अर्ली इंटरवेंशन का है, चाहे एजुकेशन का है, शायद काफ़ी लोगों को पता होता कि हमारे पास, हमारे कंट्री में आंगनवाड़ियाँ हैं, बालवाड़ीज़ हैं जो गाँव में हैं। सो अभी जो नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी जो 2020 की आई है, उसके अंतर्गत इट इज़ मैंडेटरी दैट इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन शुड हैपन राइट फ्रॉम द स्टार्ट। सो वी टॉक्ड अबाउट अर्ली चाइल्डहुड केयर एंड एजुकेशन। सो जो ये अर्ली चाइल्डहुड केयर एंड एजुकेशन है, इसकी जो शुरुआत है वो एकदम जो आंगनवाड़ी में बच्चे जाते हैं वहाँ तक पहुँचना ज़रूरी है। और NEP ये कहता है कि हमको वहाँ पे भी एक बैरियर फ्री एनवायरनमेंट चाहिए, माने कि वहाँ पे भी फिज़िकल बाधाएं ना हो, वहाँ पे टीचर्स और जो आंगनवाड़ी वर्कर्स हैं उनको उनकी ट्रेनिंग हो ताकि वो पहचान भी सकें और उन बच्चों के साथ, बाकी बच्चों के साथ मिल के काम कर सकें। सो जब तक हम ये जैसे हम काफ़ी लोगों ने यहाँ कहा कि लॉज बन जाते हैं, पॉलिसी बन जाती है, पर वो इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं हो पाती है। सो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन तो हम सबका दायित्व है, और हम जहाँ पे भी काम कर रहे हैं, हमारे शहरों में, छोटे शहरों में आंगनवाड़ी, बालवाड़ियाँ आप देखते होंगे। सो एज NGOs, एज प्रोफेशनल्स, एज पीपल वर्किंग इन दिस फील्ड, अगर हम वहाँ तक सर्विसेज को पहुँचाएँ, क्योंकि ये समझ कि अर्ली इंटरवेंशन इम्पॉर्टेंट है, हम सब ने बात करा कि यू नो ये 1000 डेज़ आफ्टर बर्थ, ये कहते हैं ना 3 साल आफ्टर बर्थ कितने इम्पॉर्टेंट हैं, क्योंकि ब्रेन का विकास कितने रैपिडली हो रहा है। तो हमें सब एरियाज़ पे फोकस करना बहुत ज़रूरी है ताकि कोई भी एरिया छूटे नहीं। सो इसको करने के लिए राइट फ्रॉम द बर्थ, इफ़ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कि बच्चे अपने आप को उस माहौल में इंक्लूडेड समझें, उनको ये ना लगे कि ये जगह हमारे लिए नहीं है। पेरेंट्स को ये कहा जाए कि हम ऐसे बच्चों के साथ काम नहीं कर सकते, हमारी ट्रेनिंग नहीं है। वी हैव इन आवर कंट्री, वी हैव द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ विमेन वेलफेयर, चाइल्ड एंड विमेन वेलफेयर, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ है, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ सोशल जस्टिस एंड एम्पावरमेंट है, और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ HRD है। और इन सब का कुछ ना कुछ लेना डिसेबिलिटी के साथ है। सब एक तरीके से बटे हुए हैं अपने अपने रोल्स में। अगर हम वाकई में चाहते हैं सिनर्जी हो, वाकई में चाहते हैं कि कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव सर्विसेज हों, तो डिसेबिलिटी की जो स्कीम्स हैं, पॉलिसीज़ हैं, दे हैव टू स्टार्ट राइट एट बर्थ, जैसे हम कह रहे हैं जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ चाइल्ड एंड विमेन वेलफेयर की है, टू लुकिंग एट प्राइमरी एजुकेशन जो MHRD में आती है, टू लुकिंग एट स्कीम्स जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ सोशल जस्टिस में आती है। एंड वाई आर वी ओनली स्टॉपिंग एट प्राइमरी एजुकेशन? हमको ये देखना है कि हम यहाँ पे इसके पहले वाले सेशन में एम्प्लॉयमेंट और स्किलिंग की बात कर रहे थे। तो जब बच्चे पैदा हुए हैं, तो जैसे यहाँ जो 2 पेरेंट्स बैठे वो कह रहे थे कि अल्टीमेट एम तो यही है ना, दैट समाज में उनकी भागीदारी हो, दैट दे बिकम कंट्रीब्यूटिंग सिटीजन्स ऑफ द कंट्री। तो उसके लिए तो एक सीमलेस ट्रांजिशन चाहिए फ्रॉम वन स्टेज टू द अदर। सो प्राइमरी स्कूल से सेकेंडरी स्कूल, एलिमेंट्री, हायर एजुकेशन एंड प्रोफेशनल ट्रेनिंग, यही तो मकसद होगा ना। अर्ली इंटरवेंशन से हम शुरू करके वहाँ तक पहुँचें। सो ये हम सबका दायित्व है दैट वी आर फोकसिंग डेफिनेटली एंड रियलाइजिंग द इम्पोर्टेंस कि आइडेंटिफिकेशन हो। जैसे डॉक्टर नागरत्ना ने कहा कि आजकल तो न्यूनेटल इंटेंसिव केयर यूनिट में काम हो रहा है, बड़े बड़े हॉस्पिटल्स में हम लोग जैसे एम्स के पीडियाट्रिक डिपार्टमेंट में के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, और वहाँ हाई रिस्क इन्फेंट्स जैसे इन्होंने बताया उनको आइडेंटिफाई करके अभी से शुरुआत कर रहे हैं। और अच्छी बात ये है कि वहाँ पे, क्योंकि ये एक प्रीमियम हॉस्पिटल है, पूरे स्टेट से लोग आते हैं, यू नो दे दूर दूर से ट्रैवल करके आते हैं, पर सबको उसकी इम्पोर्टेंस का एहसास हो रहा है कि कितना ज़रूरी। एक महीने के बच्चे आते हैं, यू नो चिल्ड्रन हुआ एक्चुअली लेस देन 4 वीक्स, बिकॉज उनको डिस्चार्ज कर दिया गया, बट उनको बोला गया कि फॉलोअप और इंटरवेंशन इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो बहुत छोटे बच्चे तो पेरेंट्स रियलाइज़ करते हैं कि इम्पॉर्टेंट है। तो आई थिंक जागरूकता तो डेफिनेटली बढ़ रही है, पेरेंट्स की नीड्स बढ़ रही हैं, उनकी ज़रूरतें, बच्चों की ज़रूरतें हम पहचान रहे हैं। अब हम पे है कि वो सिस्टम्स हम कैसे लाएं, ताकि वो सभी बच्चे किसी भी तबके के क्यों ना हो, उनकी ज़रूरतों पे हम फोकस कर पाएँ, हम उनसे सीख पाएँ और अपने एजुकेशन, हेल्थ, जो भी हमारे प्रोग्राम्स चल रहे हैं, स्कीम्स हैं, वो उन तक हम पहुंचा पाए. थैंक यू.
Thank you, madam. It was so important to understand how partnership across stakeholders works and how it is important to impart this awareness और सबको ये information जाए और सबकी भागीदारी हो. हमारे साथ आज मैडम नीलम जॉली जी हैं जो कि चेयरपर्सन हैं विश्वास NGO की. तो उन्होंने 2005 में विश्वास NGO लगाया था और बनाया था और उसको एज ए चेयरपर्सन वो लीड कर रही हैं. मैडम जॉली जी MSc ऑनर्स हैं बायोफिज़िक्स में फ्रॉम पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी और उन्होंने थेरेपी में भी स्पास्टिक सोसाइटी ऑफ इंडिया जो अब AADI कहलाता है वहाँ पर स्टडी किया है. सो मैडम आपके इसमें विचार हम लोग जानना चाहेंगे. अर्ली इंटरवेंशन और इसके मैनेजमेंट और इसकी सोशल इसको किस तरह से हैंडल किया जाए.
हाँ जी, हेलो, थैंक यू फॉर हैविंग मी हियर. सबसे पहले डॉक्टर जितेंद्र अग्रवाल और सुमन जी यहाँ नहीं है, पर आई रियली वांट टू कन्वे देम कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस फॉर द नेशनल अवार्ड. जब डॉक्टर जितेंद्र ने शुरू किया था अपना सार्थक, सुन रहे हैं, तो विश्वास हमने यहाँ गुड़गांव में शुरू किया था, ये जो हमारी एग्जिस्टिंग बिल्डिंग है. सो ही हैड कम, सो वी हैव अ लॉन्ग एसोसिएशन फ्रॉम 2007. वी हैव एस्टेब्लिश्ड एन इंक्लूसिव सेटअप एट विश्वास. और मेरा एक एम था, मैं भी चारू ने जो डेवलपमेंटल थेरेपी किया है, आई एम ऑल्सो फ्रॉम द सेम इंस्टीट्यूट. आई वॉज द फर्स्ट बैच ऑफ डेवलपमेंटल थेरेपिस्ट. So I know she was the second, but we learned a lot from there. It's the best course I think it was. तो उसको जब हम वहाँ पे, तो तब डॉक्टर जितेंद्र का जो शुरू हुआ, I have to congratulate him. He got national award. और जो हम सब बातें कर रहे हैं कि जुड़ के काम करना चाहिए, सबको मिलाना चाहिए, उसमें जो डॉक्टर जितेंद्र अग्रवाल ने किया उसका कोई जवाब नहीं है. So I wish he was here, but I'll call him and tell. और अब भी हम उनके साथ जुड़े हुए हैं. सो आई एम अ डेवलपमेंटल थेरेपिस्ट, बट व्हेन आई वर्कड इन आदि, दैट टाइम स्पास्टिक सोसाइटी ऑफ इंडिया, चारू विल एग्री, तब सब स्टैंड अलोन डिसेबिलिटीज़ में काम करते थे. तो मैं, खैर हम काफ़ी बड़े होके मैंने कोर्स किया है. व्हेन एट दैट टाइम ऑल्सो आई फेल्ट दैट वाज माय फर्स्ट एक्सपोजर टू डिसेबिलिटी. सो हमें लगता था जब पेरेंट्स हमारे प्रोग्राम में होम मैनेजमेंट में लेके आते थे, तो हम एक एक डिसेबिलिटी को अलग अलग उनको भेजते थे. ये प्रॉब्लम है तो वहाँ जाओ, ये प्रॉब्लम है तो वहाँ जाओ, थोड़ा एड्रेस कर पाते थे, बट बिकॉज इट वाज ऑल different disabilities. So over a period of time, much later in 2005, and you learn a lot in life, when I started Vishwas, I just thought I want to be with children and people with disability from the beginning to through their lifespan as much as we can. So we started a school which is fully inclusive. We actually practice right to education bill. We have 320 children, 20% with disability. और मैंने शुरू किया था इट्स लाइक अ प्ले स्कूल. देन आई थॉट अरे ये नेक्स्ट सेशन में बच्चे कहाँ जाएंगे. वी मेड इट इनटू अ प्राइमरी स्कूल. देन आई थॉट देन नाउ वेयर विल दे गो. आई मेड इट इनटू 8th स्कूल. व्हेन इट बिकेम 8th रिकग्नाइज मिडिल स्कूल, बिकॉज जब आपके बच्चे 8th से स्कूल में पढ़ के बाहर जाते हैं, तो अगर इफ़ यू आर नॉट अ रिकग्नाइज्ड स्कूल, दैट एजुकेशन हैज़ नो वैल्यू. इट वॉज वेरी डिफिकल्ट. सो वी हैव अ full-fledged inclusive school. रेगुलर बच्चे हमारे दूसरे स्कूलों में जाते हैं जो नहीं जाते. दे आर ऑल फ्रॉम अंडर प्रिविलेज सेक्शंस. जो नहीं जा पाते हैं, वी ऑल्सो NIOS हमने कर दिया पिछले 3 साल से. सो वन ऑफ आर, लाइक आई विल जस्ट टेल यू एग्जांपल्स ऑफ इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन. वन बॉय हु केम एट द एज ऑफ 4, cerebral palsy with lots of challenges. So he is still with us. He did his 8th, he did his 10th and 12th, finished his graduation, and now he can do Excel, this, that, and we got him a job in one cafe. So this is full journey like that. many of our students with and without disability are doing very well. So as ma'am you said, they are exposed to everything from the beginning. We make no disparity, we give them admission of irrespective of male, female, ability, disability. There's a long queue waiting to get admission. So we have sports teacher, and he was getting a job with great difficulty. I just thought I'll pay him more. He's done wonders with our children. So we have children with disability. One boy who went to Germany this year, and he got bronze in lawn tennis. And even with children without disability also, we have siblings who live in a outhouse of a family. They are such geniuses. We expose them to football. We had a coach, Brazil Academy wanted some space, we gave them space. But they had such ability to play football. They have been adopted by Bhaichang Bhutia Foundation, and they're playing for various clubs in Delhi, Gurugram, other places. So these are the standing examples of inclusion.
Wonderful, wonderful, madam. Actually,
yeah. So I just want to just say, I know we are very late. I'm just saying intervention and all in the field we know, but so far as awareness is concerned, आप गुड़गांव में ही हैं, मैं बहुत दिन से गुड़गांव में काम करती हूँ. तो ये जो आपका गोल्डन माइल ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर है, golf course road. So you know, every year we used to go to Delhi for Disability Day. वहाँ ये झंडे लगाए, ये करा, वो करा. So I thought we should make people aware in Gurgaon. Before COVID, we started every 3rd of December. We thought we'll start a walk on this golf course road, and all these corporates should come. You won't believe. Only but for those two partners, we actually physically went and called them, and they did not come. So we have a long way to do awareness. So there's a lot more everybody has said, but I think some other time, and please come and visit Vishwas. We actually implementing whatever is we've learnt in our lives.
It's amazing journey, madam, what you guided, and it shows that how inclusivity can be established, if we have will to do that. I will quickly request for the video that we have. Deepika ji, Alfia ji, can you put the video on?
सार्थक अर्ली इंटरवेंशन प्रोग्राम हमने 2014 में शुरू किया. जब हमें पता चला कि कुछ ऐसी कंडीशंस हैं, अगर बचपन में उनके साथ काम किया जाए तो डिसेबिलिटी को आप मिनिमाइज़ कर सकते हैं. एक साइकोलॉजिस्ट होता है, एक ऑक्यूपेशनल थेरेपिस्ट होता है, स्पीच थेरेपिस्ट होता है, स्पेशल एजुकेटर्स होते हैं, केयर टेकर्स होते हैं. तो ये एक पूरी टीम होती है जो बच्चों के साथ काम करती है. एक बच्चों का पूरा असेसमेंट किया जाता है, उन बच्चों के साथ डायग्नोज किया जाता है उस बच्चे की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है.
Early intervention is very important in my field, being an ENT surgeon. By the age of 3 years, if it is not intervened, the brain and the nerve do not develop properly, and if we do anything later on, we are not able to do much because the brain and nerve has not developed, so it is not going to function well. So it is very important to intervene early on.
Few years which we have associated with these two verticals have really helped us. They have mapped approximately more than 500 students, and they have categorized into various categories of early interventions, the skilling, and then employability. Those who could be helped, they have put into a system where the counseling sessions are on, and by this actually Sarthak has helped the countrymen in terms of those who are fighting for the country.
मुझे 10 महीने हो गया है यहाँ आते हुए, और 10 महीने में मेरा बच्चा काफ़ी इम्प्रूवमेंट कर रहा है और सेंटेंस में बोल रहा है.
एक्टिविटी अच्छी हुई, स्पीच भी थोड़ी बहुत सुधार, और उसका स्टेप बाय स्टेप अच्छा सुधार हो रहा है.
अभी आज तक हमने 3000 से ज़्यादा बच्चों को थेरेपीज़ दिया है, उनमें चेंजेस आई हैं. काफ़ी बच्चे स्कूल में इंटीग्रेट हो गए. हमारा सपना है कि जहाँ भी स्किल का हमारा सेंटर है वहाँ पे हमारा एक अर्ली इंटरवेंशन सेंटर जरूर हो.
So thank you for, I would again go back to panelists for just one line quick message for stakeholders. When I say stakeholder, it's largely parents and other NGOs. And with that, we will try to, close today's session. What I understood so far, as everyone agreed as a consensus that there is a golden period of 0 to 3 years, 1,000 days, and 0 to 6 years in certain cases, which is the brain development, communication, and we need communication, engagement. We have to overcome denial hurdle, which is the most important, and we have to deal with it in a scientific method. As Dr. Nagratna pointed out, we have scientific methods. We can make those mandatory. And important thing, as Charu Lekha ji highlighted, that important thing is to reach all. सबकी भागीदारी चाहिए और सब तक पहुंचना ज़रूरी है. और उसके लिए what I also agree that NGOs and government have to work together. There is no one point solution for it. It is a large country, it's a complex country, and we all have to partner. Parents have to partner, NGOs have to partner, government policies and infrastructure has to partner. And I think we can make lives of millions and millions children better by implementing this early intervention. So quickly, one line message to conclude, Nandita ji.
One line message would be, let's all work together. Let's all work in partnership, be it the government, be it the NGOs, be it different disability sectors. Like right to education, abhi ghar kafi schoolon mein, now we don't hear about, thanks to right to education. Usi tarah se I would want कि early childhood care and education जो हमारे policy में है, वो it shouldn't be just limited to metros, but as Charu said, we are able to reach out to the vast population of India.
See, as we heard, government has really planned early intervention centers at every district level. So there is a need for bridging that gap by collaborating with either NGOs or civil society organizations. And if it is not possible, still our children are growing. Children from far-flung areas are growing. So technology offers you the gateway to leapfrog through remote consultations, through handholding, through posting the videos on Google or YouTube. Getting your queries solved is definitely going to help every child, regardless of the age. We interact with children from Leh Ladakh till Kanyakumari, Rameshwaram, and Arunachal till Bhuj, and assure them that there will not be a delay of even a single day, whatever may be the difficulty. So that needs to be backed, because we can do only little. If this needs to be scaled up, numbers as well as quality wise, then lot of technology intervention from the government side will be required. Thank you.
Yeah, the simple word, remove the information asymmetry. That would be the crux of the thing. And the people having the success stories, they should become the champion of this movement.
Actually, the resource person should be improved a lot. Manpower is the very less in our country. So that has to be improved so that we can reach each and every community, so that we will be able to do much justice to this early intervention.
So मेरा एक क्लाइंट का स्टेटमेंट यही होगा कि जो इंक्लूजन की हम बात करते हैं वो अर्ली इंटरवेंशन से ही शुरू होना होगा. तो चाहे हम कोई भी चैलेंजेस की बात करें, फिज़िकल चैलेंजेस की, या हम कह रहे हैं कि ट्रेनिंग नहीं है टीचर्स की, या करिकुलम में इंक्लूजन नहीं है, जो भी रिसोर्सेज हैं, जो भी हमें करने की ज़रूरत है, सारे देश की ज़रूरत को समझते हुए जो इंक्लूजन के लिए स्ट्रैटेजीज़ चाहिए वो शुरुआत से ही होनी चाहिए व्हेन द चाइल्ड इज़ वेरी वेरी यंग.
अब क्या है, पॉलिसीज़ बहुत हैं. आई थिंक ये जो हमने डिस्कस किया है सबने कि बहुत बड़े शहरों में सब फैसिलिटीज़ हैं, as you grow, go away from the main cities, facilities बहुत कम है. नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में जो चारू भी बोल रही थी, हमने भी देखा आंगनवाड़ी वर्कर्स आर द फर्स्ट पॉइंट ऑफ कांटेक्ट. एंड हमारे अपने विलेजेस में वी वर्क इन द कम्युनिटी, हमने देखा चार्ट लगे हैं, कुछ काम हुआ है, पर दे आर नॉट ट्रेंड. आई थिंक ऑन दैट नोट आई वुड से टू रीच द मैक्सिमम नंबर ऑफ पीपल एंड ऑल्सो टू लाइक people who have, they also have challenges, but people who don't have access to financial access, accessibility in whichever way, we have to reach them and make this early intervention possible. For that, I think grassroots level पे हमें बहुत ज़ोर से काम करना है, at district level, block level and village level.
Yeah, thank you, madam. And I must thank all the eminent panelists who have given so much wisdom today, and combined together it gives a kind of consensus that early intervention is so important, and we have to work together. Sarthak has now 3 early intervention centers and plan to set up more and more. This year alone we are targeting to help at least 1,000 children. We have already done work with 3,600 children so far, and we continue this journey. I think we need 10,000 Sarthak in India to do the justice. So that is possible again only if all the NGOs, government and parents partner and work together. Thank you, my eminent panelists. Thank you, Sarthak team, and thank you all the audience being here and connected virtually. Thank you for the day.
एग्जिट क्या सरकारी चावड़ी से ना